Hi guys, welcome back to the Mission Empowered podcast with me, your host Emily. That was a very bolshy opening, wasn't it? Hi guys. Okay, so we are going to go into a Q&A episode. As you know, I do love doing these episodes because I feel like it's what the people want. Like if I put it on my Instagram and you know, you guys ask the questions, it's the likelihood is that you listening, I'm talking about, a cumulative now, but you're listening to someone else's questions that actually is going to help you because sometimes content is hard because I think I know what I want to say, but sometimes then I'm thinking, is that helpful? And then one of my clients or one of the girls in the Fit and Six or one of you listeners or someone on my Instagram will ask me a question. I think that's helpful and I would have never thought of that. So that is why we like the Q&A episodes. All right, so what are we saying about the hair? I'm not feeling it. I'll be honest with you. I turned the camera on with no makeup and no hair done and was like, yikes. I actually don't know how many people watch the video or just listen to the podcast. Let me know. Drop me a message if you watch it on YouTube or you watch it on, yes, it is on YouTube. If you watch it on YouTube, if you watch it on Spotify, just drop me a message and let me know. I would love to start like a YouTube channel, but it is so time consuming. And one of the reasons I would love to start a YouTube channel is because I love it when they say, "Hi guys, welcome back to my channel." That's like the Americans, obviously. And I've been advised to start a YouTube channel. Apparently, it's the way to go. Because obviously, what I do for my job, it's all over Instagram anyway. But yeah, does anyone watch YouTube? Let me know. I've just recently started recently, I don't know. I'm obsessed with Molly May. I feel like such a 15-year-old girl saying that. I love her YouTube. Like, no wonder she does so well off it. If you haven't watched it, it's very addictive and pointless. You literally are watching her in a car, chatting to the camera, doing her makeup. But like, apparently, that's what like we like to do. It's like we like to watch other people, which is why like Big Brother's so successful. I'm a celebrity because we're just watching people in habitat. So anyway, been advised by my business mentor. He was like, you should start a YouTube channel, get Ollie involved, stuff like that. So we'll see. But it's just so time consuming because you have to have like the camera with you all the time. And I get it, I know. But then how do I do that and coach clients and do the podcast and do Instagram, grow a baby, have a baby? Do you know what I mean? Who knows? Maybe we'll get a little baby blogger. But right, let's go. Q&A time. So I've got Q&As off my Insta, which you kindly contributed to. And I've got Q&As from the Fit and Six. But next week's episode, or at some point, bonus episode maybe, I'm going to do a Q&A with Nick, who is my Fit and Six coach, because they're always good discussions to have. Okay, shall we do this? Number 1. Tips to navigate around time of the month when energy is low, cravings hit, and motivation is lower. I'm guessing that means motivation is lower to train. Okay, so I've actually done a full podcast on understanding your PMS, which is about 30 minutes, but I'm going to condense that into answer this question. But I probably would recommend to go and listen to that. If you want to understand a bit more about why we get the symptoms of PMS we do and how we can help combat them in detail, go and listen to that. But in terms of this question, so tips to navigate around time of the month, energy low, craving hits. Right. First of all, I would say like you need to work out what's going to work for you at your time of the month, because if you're having a regular cycle, then this is a regular occurrence, and what you don't want to be doing is writing off 5 to 7 days of every single month because you don't know what's working for you. Let me elaborate. So let's say you're a chocolate craving girl, okay? You need to work out that week, is that week, rather than you pressing the fucking button, let's say you're on fat loss, rather than pressing the fucking button and just not tracking anything and just going mad on chocolate for every single week of every single month, you need to say, right, I know I like chocolate, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to give myself an extra 200 to 300 calories over the next 5 days. No, I'm not going to get fat loss, but I'm still going to track my protein. I'm going to do my best on my steps and my workouts. But I just know that when that chocolate craving hits, I've had an allowance to do that, because what happens when we just press the fucking button? We massively over consume. So by you giving yourself 200, 300 calories allowance more on top of your calorie target, you're probably more inclined to stay within like your goal box rather than just running completely outside it. Okay, so if you get cravings, give yourself an allowance to honor them. And that doesn't have to be like 500, 600, 700 calories. It could be 200 to 300. I don't know why, but a Yorkie bar's just come into my head. I really like Yorkies. But they're 300 calories, so they're on the higher end. But you could opt for a single finger twirl, 114 calories, might do the job. But giving yourself that little allowance around cravings is what's going to help you. Tips to navigate around time on energy low, motivation low. Just be careful. I do think, to be honest with you, I do think now we're more aware of when you're due on, you're going to be more tired, you're going to experience this. I think we are in that mindset of, oh, I'm due on, I'm going to be tired, I'm going to be demotivated. Whereas every cycle is different. There might be similarities, but no cycle is exactly the same because there's so many other lifestyle factors that affect our cycle as well. So just be aware, just be careful you're not falling into the trap of, I'm due on Wednesday. So actually what I'm going to do on that day is not train. Well, you might feel fucking great. I've PBs when I've been on my periods. I've come on and had a great workout. Literally come on in the gym and stayed because I'm not leaving, and then still has a good workout. I've had other days where I am fucking floored. So for me, it's really not falling into that trap of I'm going to feel demotivated. I'm going to feel tired, because you won't every single cycle. You just won't. And you'll have different levels of it. So again, just listen to your body and don't listen to society, and don't succumb to a self-fulfilling prophecy, which is telling yourself something before it's happened. So then you're going to feel like it. So if you do feel like energy is low and you do feel like motivation's low, number one advice is tap into why you're doing it. Why are you going to the gym? Are you trying to achieve a goal? Are you prepping for the photo shoot? I know this person who's asking me the question is because sometimes you might not be motivated and you might feel a little bit tired. And a lot of people will say to you, but you do on your period, to be kind to yourself. But sometimes, hon, we just have to suck it up and be like, I'm due on my period, but I've got a goal that I want to hit. So do you know what? I'm going to go and give it my best shot. Sometimes that's the bloody advice that we need. And sometimes it is stay in, get a bath and chill. Because at the end of the day, power towards girls having periods every month. They can be painful, they can be flooring, they can be, annoying and make us irritable. So power to us for going through it. But at the same time, on the flip side, we do it every month. And you've got to look at, do you want to, and I get some people's PMS is different, but you have got to look at sometimes and just think, well, I'm going to power through it or I'm not. I sound like a fucking fella saying this, but it's true. I sound like someone who doesn't get it, and I do get it. But what I'm going to finish this question now with something, okay? Something really, really I want you to take on board is that your periods shouldn't be like debilitating. They just shouldn't. Your periods and your PMS, okay? If you can't get out of bed and you're crippled over with pain and you can barely walk, babe, you need to go and speak to your GP, because that's not okay. And this is why I feel confident and comfortable enough to say sometimes we have to push through, because if you're listening to this or watching this and thinking, no way could I do that, then we need to dig into your PMS symptoms and find out what's going on, because there's something probably underlying that isn't going on. And one of the best ways to improve your PMS symptoms is lifestyle, is having a good diet, drinking lots of water, getting plenty of sleep, exercising, keeping your weight in check. All of these things. I've had women who start work with me, obesity, coming up with a really high BMI. As we've brought their body fat levels down, guess what? Their periods start to improve, their symptoms start to improve as well. Vice versa, if you're underweight and you're having irregular, really painful periods or irregular symptoms, once you regulate your weight into a healthy category and regulate your lifestyle into a healthier lifestyle, then you will hopefully seeing improvements in PMS as well. And I'm not just talking about weight, I'm talking about if you drink a lot, if you have a high processed diet, all of these things can contribute to having bad PMS and irregular periods and heavy periods. So yeah, God, that was a thingy question, wasn't it? What you call it? Why is my camera out of focus? It's been out of focus the whole time. I bet it has. That's annoying, isn't it? And it's back out of focus. Guys, just bear with me 1 second. Right. I don't know what I've done. Zoomed in. Right. Okay, we're going to leave it there. Not for the podcast, just for the camera touching it. Okay, so I hope that helped with the PMS. Like I said, it's a full podcast on it. This was a great question. Your go-to top 5 exercises if you only have 30 minutes spare for the gym. Great, but still have a plan. Still have a plan. You do not want to, especially if you've only got 30 minutes, you do not want to be going into the gym winging it every 30 minutes. Oh, no, okay? You still want to have a plan. So if you've got 30 minutes to go to the gym, I would work on exercises you cannot do at home. So don't go to the gym and start doing sit-ups and press-ups, okay? Go to the gym and use the barbell, use the machines, use the heavier weights, because everything else we can do more of at home. But when you're in the gym, you want to capitalize on the stuff that you haven't got access to when you're not there. So it might be, I would probably focus on, if I had 30 minutes, I probably wouldn't be going super, super heavy because of the rest time needed. I want you to get more out of it. So I'd probably go for maybe moderate to heavy weight, and I would superset my exercises. So I'd probably either do an upper or a lower, an upper and a lower supersetted, or a push and a pull supersetted. So for example, I might do a squat, supersetted into a seated shoulder press. So no, when I say superset, I mean no break in between. Okay, so you do squat, you do shoulder press, then you have a breather. Okay, and you need that breather to recover, and then do that again. And then maybe would do, you could do like a bent over row of some lunges or a deadlift or something like that. Or you could do, I'm talking about using heavy weights here. So you wouldn't go to the gym, and if you've got 3 kilograms at home, use the 3 kilograms. Okay, you'd superset of heavy weights. Or you could do like a machine exercise, supersetted with a dumbbell exercise or something like that, or kettlebell exercise. So yeah, I'd probably superset. Excuse me. Or, like I said, I'd probably do 3 bigger lifts. And then after that, say that took me 15, 20 minutes, I'd probably spend the last 10, 15 minutes doing accessory work. So, or like shorter break work. So I might pick like 3 machines to do, or something like that, or use the cable machines. And when I was on the cable machines, I would try and do it to maybe, it's off the top of my head, I would do like a bicep curl, a single arm shoulder press, and a wood chop, or something like that. So I'd be on that same machine and I'd be as time efficient as possible. But honestly, number one advice, if you've only got 30 minutes to do the gym, that's enough. Just have a plan. Because if you go in and think, oh, what should I do? We're going to waste half the time thinking, what should I do? Okay, so go in with a plan. Okay, this was a lovely question. What's the one thing that we can change daily that has the most impact on health and fat loss? So, the first thing I'm going to say to this question, health and fat loss, separate entities, although yes, they can overlap, but looking after your health is different to looking after your fat loss. Looking after your health will probably tend to lead to fat loss. But there are ways that people do fat loss that aren't healthy. So just be aware of, don't think about fat loss as in health, okay? And it being interchangeable. It's not, okay? Your health is your health. Your health is your wealth. And looking after your health with looking after your diet, drinking your water, doing your daily movements. If you prioritize that and be consistent with that long enough, if you are overweight, you'll see that weight come down. Whereas fat loss, you might already be healthy, but you want to drop body fat. Okay, so the things that we then do to drop body fat may not be what we would deem as like, I don't want to say unhealthy, but may not be sustainable, because fat loss is a phase. And sometimes we do things in that fat loss phase that we don't do in what we call a lifestyle phase, such as pushing more cardio, pushing steps up higher than 10K, calorie deficit. Like, that's not lifestyle. Being in a calorie deficit for your whole life is not healthy. So the reason I said this question was good is because I feel like the person who's asked this question has umbrellaed health and fat loss as the same thing, and it's very not. Okay, so let's dissect it. So what I'll do part A and part B. What's the one thing that we can change daily that has the most impact on health? Easy. Walking, getting outside, getting moving. We do not move enough, point blank. And even when we're looking after our diet and we're doing well in our diet, we don't move enough. Like, we don't move enough more than we don't eat healthily enough. By the way, that's not fact. That's just what I think. It'll be interesting to see that fact. But yeah, so because walking impacts your physical health and your mental health, that's why I think, set yourself a step target or set yourself a challenge, 3 walks a day. Not 1 walk a day. Do 1 in the morning, short 1 at lunchtime, short 1 after dinner. And if you're rolling your eyes thinking, who's got time for that? Then maybe you are the person that needs to make time for that. Because actually, if you throw back to when we were in our caveman days and we were moving all the time, like, we were never sat down, which chairs even invented, like, and predominantly now working, even me, when we're working, what are we doing? We're sitting down, we're at a desk. That's not natural for us. So yeah, I would say walking for your health and your mental health is one of the biggest things you can do to impact. Okay, what's the one thing we can change daily that has the most impact on fat loss? Well, we all know key to fat loss is nutrition, okay? So if you want the one thing that can impact you daily with fat loss is track your nutrition. I feel like that's a bit of a cop-out answer because I feel like you probably already know that. So let me give you another answer that maybe you're not thinking of. Okay, so the one thing that you can do daily that has the most impact on fat loss is go to bed earlier. Go to bed and get more sleep. Sleep is the most underrated jigsaw piece for fat loss, and it's also the most ignored piece, I think, for fat loss. Is that everybody is like, yeah, I did my steps, I did my water, I did my calories, and then stayed up, and I was like, I stayed up till 11:30, and then got up at 6 and went to gym, but actually you're fucking knackered. Then you can't control your hunger hormones, then you're not switched on, you're not really putting effort into your workouts because you're so tired. If you're missing sleep, and again, sleep does affect health as well, obviously, and mental health and loads of other things, but it does affect your fat loss. And I remember having this conversation with someone once who was on the cusp of signing up with me as a one-to-one client. And this is how, point blank I am sometimes. She would not budge on her sleep. She was like, it doesn't affect me. She was going to bed at 12 and getting up at 5. And I said, we need to work on sleep. She was like, I won't be doing that. That's my time to sit down and whatever. I don't know what else she was doing. She was like, she definitely won't listen to the podcast anyway. But yeah, so I basically said to her, so you're telling me you will not budge on improving your sleep? And she was like, no, that is the one thing that I like my routine of going to bed at 12 and getting up at 5. But she was telling me a diet that she was eating a sugar that she couldn't feel satisfied. And I was like, she was like, it works for me. And I was like, no, you're not genetically different than the billion of other people on this world. It ain't working for you. Anyway, my point is, she wouldn't change. And so I said, you're not going to be right for my coaching because sleep is really, really important. And it's a lovely thing to work on. My coach has told me, Em's told me I've got to go to bed earlier. So I'm going to leave the dishes for tomorrow because no one's going to die if you don't do the dishes. And I'm going to go to bed. Imagine if we just had a podcast where we had a nap. That'd be cute, wouldn't it? Okay, so hopefully that answered that question. I need to get an absolute move on, as if I've answered 3 questions in 19 minutes. Do you think a juice cleanse is beneficial? No. Well, that was an easy one. Ticked off. Okay, let me just elaborate on this. I think with this, there maybe needs a little bit more context behind it. Beneficial for what? But even with context, what we've got to remember when it comes to detoxing, when it comes to cleanses, girls, our bodies have got built-in detox and cleanse systems, okay? They are our liver, our kidneys, our digestive system. They do the work for us, okay? Our gastric juices, they are our cleanse, our detox, okay? So Please do not get caught up ever in people who talk about detoxing and juice cleansers and this is what it does to your insides. Like, no, it just doesn't. What I will say is, with everything, mentally, it might make you feel better. Mentally, or what's the word I'm trying to think of? Placebo. It might make you think, oh yeah, like I do feel better. I feel like more energy, and yeah, okay, great, that's fabulous. But you can't defy science. And we know that our body is really great at detoxing itself. It doesn't need anything else to do it. It's really good at cleansing itself. It doesn't need anything else to do it. So do you think a juice cleanse is beneficial? I'm going to guess from a health and fat loss point of view, because that's what my page is. No, I do not. Right, next one. Best tips to stop weight loss, weight gain cycle if you can't afford a coach long term. Okay, if you can't afford a coach long term, you've got two options. The first option, right, is to do what you're doing now. Listen to me, not just me, but do your own research. Find out what you need to be doing and find out where you're going wrong. There's a podcast that you can go listen to straight after this called The 10 Fat Loss Fundamentals. Go and listen to that. That is a great place to start if you can't afford to work with a coach. So if you find that you are weight loss and then weight gain, I would say you're massively being too over restrictive in your weight loss and your fat loss phase, because all that's happening is you're getting to the point where you're like, oh, I'm happy, and then you're piling it all back on. You need to find your middle ground. So option one, like I said, is go and do your own research. Okay, read the books. I've recommended this book before. Thinner, Leaner, Stronger is a good book to read. But again, you've got to put, if you can't afford a coach, you've got to be your own coach. And if you think about, again, I don't mind talking about me for example, the amount of time, money, effort, brain power I've invested into being the coach that I am, which is why I get the results I do. You can't compare the results you're going to get compared to someone who is working with a coach, because that's what we do. It's our profession. It's our passion. So we spend all that time reading, listening, doing the work that we can just apply to your results. And this is key when people think, oh, coach just tells you what to do and I know how to do, I know what I need to do. No. Shit coaches will, but good coaches will give you something that you can't give yourself, which is why we're busy, which is why we get results, you know? So my first one is, if you can't afford to get a coach, you've got to be your own coach, and you've got to go and look and research and listen yourself of where you're going wrong, okay? The second option I would say is take a break from dieting. And again, I do this a lot with my clients, or sort of this context is that my clients will run their fat loss in phases. No one will ever come to me and say, I want to lose 4 stone. And I go, okay, let's go. I will phase it. What holidays have we coming up? We're going to work really hard now. Then we'll have a break because we have to run fat loss in phases. Okay. Because otherwise we lose motivation. We get bored, you know, we can get a little bit of metabolic adaptation. So all of these things can contribute to you like falling off the wagon, let's just call it what it is, falling off the wagon, the diet wagon, okay, and then rebounding. So like I said, your second option is take that out the picture and just go for maintenance. Say to yourself, for 4 months I'm going to eat at my maintenance calories. So how you do that, you go on Google, you put in calorie calculator, and you find out what your maintenance calories are. You trust it. You don't shit yourself. You don't think that it's wrong. You know, there's loads of different calorie calculators. Go and do 3 and see, are they all coming out at the same one, or get the average of them. Stick to them calories for 3 months. Give yourself a break from dieting. Learn what your body's maintenance is. That's another problem that we go through a lot, is that people are either dieting or they're not. They're either on it or they're off it. Terrible fucking way to live your life. Awful. You do a fat loss phase, you then either maintain or reverse diet up, and that is where you stay. And then if you want to do another fat loss phase, great, but you do that later on. You do not just go from dieting to not dieting to diet. Oh God, emotionally draining. So, for that question, 2 options: go and do the work and put the time and the effort in to become your own coach and know what you're doing, or eat a maintenance for 3 months, learn to trust your body, give your body a break from dieting. And once you've done that and you've maintained your weight for 3 months and you know what your figures are because you're tracking them, you can then very easily find out what your fat loss calories are, because you'll know what your maintenance calories are. Okay, next question. Can you have too much protein? So if we wanted the black and white answer, it would be yes, because we can have too much of anything. Are you going to eat too much protein? Very, very likely no. Purely for the fact that 90% of people I work with struggle to hit the bare minimum of protein. So for you to then go and overeat and eat too much protein consecutively, it doesn't matter if you do it on 1 or 2 days, consecutively eat too much protein, then I would be shocked. There are days where I've overeaten on protein, like literally 180 grams of protein. I'm like, wow. And then the following day, I'm back down to like 130 again. So let's do the caveat. Can you have too much protein? Yes, you can. Like everything, you can have too much protein. Are you having it? Probably not. But here's how to work out your calorie range. You take your weight in pounds and you times it by 0.8. That is your lower end. You then take your weight in pounds, you times that by 1.2. You have then got your ideal protein range. Okay, so from 0.8 to 1.2 grams of protein per pound of body weight is your ideal protein range. Okay, right, next one. Oh, this is the last one of this one. Good job, 27 minutes. I hope everyone's still with me. Sorry if this is a bit boring. Sometimes I just go off, don't I? Anyway, let's have a look. So you see the weight creeping on. Oh, this was a good one. You see the weight creeping on, but you aren't doing anything about it. How to get your ass in gear? Okay, great question. My first answer would be, if you see the weight creeping on and you're not doing anything about it, are you bothered? Is that why you're not doing anything about it? Because actually, are you just comparing to a place that you've been before where you were leaner, so you think that's where I should be? Or are you... Yeah, no, I think that was the first one. Is that the first one? The second thing is you have to look at your health, okay? Because as I said in the previous question, there is a difference between fat loss and between health. And if you are at a healthy weight and you're eating well and you're exercising and you're having a healthy social life and you're getting your sleep on, and you're getting your sleep in, if you are at a healthy weight but you're heavier than where you were, say, 6 months ago, is that the problem? Is that you're just comparing back to where you were and you think because your weight's going up that you need to bring it back down? Okay, so that's option A. Option B. Option C is those of you that might be listening thinking, no, I just know the scale's getting up, I'm getting fatter and I'm not doing anything about it. My advice would be is you probably don't know what to do. You're probably overwhelmed. No, you probably don't know where to start. You probably know what to do because you've listened to me before. You know to track your food, do your steps, plan your workout, but you're probably like, where the fuck do I start? So you don't do anything, because we've all been there. I've got so much to do. Oh, where's the dog? Let me cuddle him. You know, I've been there. Like, I know that. So my advice is, if the weight's going on and you're like, no, I do want to do something about it, get yourself a diary and write day 1 and put the date next to it. Okay. Underneath that, I would set yourself some targets, very small targets to start with. But the first one, the be all and end all when it comes to fat loss, is calorie deficit, okay? Use the calorie calculator, work out your calorie deficit, and be like, okay, I'm going to plan my food around this deficit. That's what I'm going to do, and I'm going to do that for 1 week, okay? So you do that for 1 week in your little diary, you tick off day 2, day 3, whatever. Day 7 comes, you do a reflection. How did it get on last week? Okay, so you look previously back and you said, yeah, do you know what, actually, I tracked all my food. Maybe it was only 80%, but I gave it a good go. Great. On day 7, you set yourself another target in week 2. I'm going to do an outside walk each day. You don't even have to step target, okay? This is baby steps. If you're not even walking outside, set that as a target, okay? Or I'm going to drink a 1 litre of water before I go in the morning before I get up. Little things like that, so your habit stacking. So you're doing one for a week, then you're adding another one on, you're adding another one on. It's not overwhelming. It's moving you forwards, okay? Before you start, let's say you can see the weight creeping on. Let's say you've put a stone on, and let's say, okay, we want to lose about £1 a week. You're going to fast forward to 4. You were in the right day one. Let's just say you did this today. Day one, 17th of April. The end goal for me is by May, June, July, August to have this stone off, or July, have this stone off. And then you need to just fill in the gaps. What do you need to do between now and July to get that stone off? You need to track your food, do your steps, and implement it like that. The last thing I would say is going to listen, which I love recommending. Go and listen to the podcast, Let's Get Some Willpower. Because ultimately, you've got options A, you've got options B, you've got option C, but option D is you are just being a little lazy mofo. And you need to call yourself out on it. So do you need to just get some willpower and some discipline? Sorry, there's the dog. Do you need to just get some willpower? Buddy! Right. Do you need to just get some willpower and some discipline to get your bum in gear? Okay? And go to listen to that podcast because it'll give you steps of how to do that. Okay, that is the last questions. Girls, been great timing. Had other stuff to go through, but I'll save that for next week with Nick. I hope you enjoyed that little half an hour session. It's good. Half an hour is good, especially if you listen to me on your walks. You're normally out for half an hour. But as always, I love doing Q&As. If you do have any, just drop them over to me on Instagram @_em.powered, and I'll save them for next time. Girls, I'm 11 ratings off 100 5-star ratings on Spotify. Please, someone give me a 5-star rating. If you are a regular listener, I'd really appreciate it. And yeah, hope you all enjoyed that. Hope you have a great, wonderful day, and I will speak to you next time. Okay, love you. Bye.